Good morning and welcome to another episode of Garden to Table with Rose, and I am Rose. So today I am going to again attempt to do a relatively short video. This is going to be a garden tour. It is August 1st today, so well into the gardening season, actually halfway done. And I can see it's early in the morning. It's actually a pretty cool day today. It's finally cooled off here and stopped raining. I can see butterflies in the garden, dragonflies. Of course, there's probably a ton of bees, as they are always here. So we'll do a quick tour. I have not been in my garden in several days, really. I pulled a muscle or something in my back or hip. Old people problems, so I have been taking it easy. Most likely it came from lifting too many heavy things. That happens. So I took a few days off, so I haven't been out here. I'm sure everything needs to be weeded and weed whacked and everything else, but I'm going to do a walkthrough and see kind of what I need to try to take care of over the next week, and I'll show you as well. These big pots are my elderberry. I have two of these elderberry bushes, and there's okra planted on the perimeter of the elderberry bush. All of this growth is this season. These were just bare root. These elderberry bushes were bare root kind of twigs when I got them, so they have definitely leafed out. The okra has been attacked by beetles, so I've been fighting them all season, but they are setting some fruit. They're slow growing. As tall as they are, you would think that I would get more. I've harvested a few, like 3 full-size okras that I plan to actually cook today or tomorrow. I have actually never eaten homegrown okra. I've only had okra a couple of times, and that probably was in gumbo or something, and I did not like it. That was many, many years ago. To me, it was slimy and kind of like mucus, and it was not very good. But I was reading, it said if you kept them very dry and sauteed them quickly, that they wouldn't get slimy. So I was just interested in trying them because they are pretty plants, as you can see. I mean, the stems are this deep burgundy color, and they come in different colors. I have some pink and some red, as well as a green. So I'm going to give it a try. My green stalks are done. Everything is pretty much dying off. I'm waiting for the last of these little tomatoes to turn orange. And then, I'll pull all these out. So I'm kind of just leaving them here. They are very tasty. It's a, let me eat this one. It's a little orange cherry tomato. I'm not sure of the variety name, but they're good. I planted a couple of sunflowers here in my little grapeberry arbor area. But you're doing good. I love sunflowers now. They are awesome. I think I will always plant sunflowers. Another one of my okra plants and elderberry bushes. And this one has some okra. Let's see if I can get in there. There's like so much sun and glare that I can't even tell what I'm filming actually. But anyway, there's one. These are red ones. They're kind of burgundy. Actually, they're the same color as the stem. And then some are actually a pink variety. They're a little bit more of a hotter pink, I guess you could say. So they're coming along one by one, the okra, which is fine because I don't eat a lot of that at one time. So that works for me. This, oh my gosh, this one vine has gone crazy. It's like it's on steroids. It just won't stop growing. It is extending all the way down the fence, all the way across that trellis, all the way down this fence, and actually it has collapsed one of my little metal arbors that I put up. The fruit on it is so heavy. I've concluded that these must be watermelons because they are huge. There's a lot of bees in here, so I don't want to get too close. But I don't know if you can see that. I have them wrapped in slings because they're so heavy. This one isn't wrapped, but kind of wrapped in slings to try to keep them from snapping off the vine. They're big, and there's about 4 or 5 of them that are, well, about 4 that are big, and then baby ones still coming. Flowers are still blooming, as you can see there. So this has to be some kind of watermelon because it's big and it's shaped like a pumpkin. I didn't plant any pumpkins, so I'm assuming watermelon. I hope they don't all come ripe at the same time though, because who can eat 4 or 5 watermelons? I'll have to find somebody to give them to. All right, so I have, like I said, my green stalks are pretty much done. This one is full of strawberry plants, so that will overwinter. I have that one over there. Let's see if I can zoom in. Is full of green beans. And as you can see, if you can see, there are green beans that are ready to be picked on there. A lot of the pink ones are the pink variety. I can't think of the name. It's a pinkish, deep pink burgundy color. They're very pretty. There are a lot of those there, which I need to harvest this week. And they do turn green when you actually cook them, because I did pick a few and cook them. So unfortunately, they lose the color, but they are still beautiful to watch growing. I have gotten rid of some of the stuff here. It was getting really big, everything, and it was like spilling into my walkways, and it was just getting to be a bit much. There was so many bees, so I kind of got rid of some of the flowers. I thinned out these cosmos. I got rid of the bachelor's buttons because I really don't necessarily need many more pollinators. I mean, I've had so many bees that I can't even get in there to some of these plants and do anything because the bees are swarming it. So, yeah, I don't want to get stung out here, man. As you can see, my potato plants are dying back, which I'm happy about because that probably means that they're almost ready to be harvested, because I am looking forward to that. I love potatoes. I did not harvest any earlier. I put them in grow bags, and I said I would just wait and do it all at once, because for me that would be just easier than trying to dig out 1 or 2 here and there. So I'm waiting for the tops to die completely back. Oh my gosh, that one actually still has flowers at the top. And once they die back, I'm going to dump them and see what I got. It's like a treasure hunt. I might do a video of that. So over here I have some kind of squash plant. Don't know really what it is yet. It hasn't given me any fruit. It has flowers on it though, and big, nice, pretty leaves. So some kind of squash. All these are the sweet potatoes. And Bella's joining us. Say hi, Bella. Say hi, Bella. She wants to be in the video apparently, but anyway. All these are sweet potatoes, which, in spite of the holes eaten in the leaves by the bugs, you know, the potatoes are under the dirt, so they look lush and they are doing well. Let's see, over here there are more squash or zucchinis, and I think I've harvested a couple. There's some big ones down in there. You probably can't see that, it's dark. There's a big green one down in there. There's a couple of big ones in there that I need to get out. That has turned into, this whole thing has turned into a jungle of tomato plants mostly. Those tomato plants are something. They get bushy as heck, and I did not prune them back. I didn't see a need to do that because I have so many. Like I said, I'm not worried about like trying to maximize the yield, or you know, trying to make it aesthetically pleasing. They're all in containers here, and they're growing. They're starting to fall over. They're so heavy because they don't have cages or anything around them, which is fine, because this area, like I said, it's containers, and so it's off the ground, and it's fenced off to try to keep the dogs out. But as you can see, they still try to stick their noses in there. Bella, out. So we got tons of baby tomatoes going on, tomatillas too. You can see there are a lot of tomatillas on this end, purple ones and green ones, and then the others are different kinds of tomatoes. Don't ask me which kind. More sweet potatoes here. My onions, which are looking great. With these, I read that I'm supposed to wait till the tops kind of start to dry out and look like they're dying, and then bend them over I can bend them over to hasten the process. I'm probably just going to leave them there till they die down, unless they don't die down by, once it starts getting close to fall, end of August, September, then I'm going to, probably harvest them. And a lot of these things have to be cured, meaning you just let them sit in a dry space and toughen up the outer skin so that they're storable. So I plan to store as much as I can in terms of the onions and the root vegetables and the squash, the hard squash, winter squash. That's my goal. So we shall see. So these potatoes are the Clancy potatoes, and they're still giving us these purple, beautiful blooms. Oh, let me get in here. Try to quickly lock this back to get the dogs out. Okay, over here, this is one of my citrus trees, which is looking good. I got this marshmallow. I'm waiting for that to bloom. I have to look that up. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to harvest the flowers, the roots, the leaves. I don't know. Each one is different, so I usually have to look it up and see when I'm supposed to harvest it and what part I'm looking for. Lots of the parsley here, this curly parsley, I have harvested tons of that, and it just keeps growing. I think it likes this spot because it's pretty shaded, because it's right next to the fence, so that's working out. Lots of borage, which keeps the mean bugs away, the ones that want to decimate my plants. The lavender is doing well. There's a big bumblebee on it, as you can see. This is the lemon verbena. I've dried some of that, and I've used it. It's supposed to, I think, help with calmness, anxiety, insomnia, those kinds of things. So I dried some of that, and then I think, I make it a, what do you call it? Tincture. I've made a tincture that's brewing. That takes like a year. I made a syrup as well with that in lemon balm and something else I may have used, another leafy herb that's supposed to help with relaxation. I'm not sure which one. This is hibiscus or roselle, and I'm waiting on that to flower up so I can collect the flowers and dry those. It looks a lot like the okra plant. I wonder if they're related in terms of their category classification, but it looks a lot like the okra plant. Waiting for those to flower. And then all these root vegetables you see are dying back. The leaves are turning yellow. These are all like root vegetables, so turnips and rutabagas and beets. And again, I'm waiting for this stuff to die down so that I can harvest them all at once. There's a bag of onions in there in the mix. Oh, this one's empty. I did throw in some seeds. What did I put in here? Oh, eggplant. I doubt if I'll get anything before the season's over. But the bunny. I have been at war with one bunny. There's only one, because I've run it out of my yard a couple of times. It's decimated my pepper plants and my eggplant. It literally just eats the whole top off and leaves like a stem. And I tried putting my little eggplant and pepper cages up, but the holes on those are too big, so they still got into the holes. So I've lost the battle this season. It's a little late in the season. There are a few left, but the bunny got like half of them. And I'm disappointed. I really was looking forward to peppers. I was looking forward to trying to make some hot sauces out of those. And I just like, I like mild hot peppers like jalapenos, Anaheim peppers and stuff like that. I can stuff or just use in a stir fry or whatever. So I do really like peppers, so I'm kind of bummed about that. But I learned something for next year. There's another citrus plant, or two actually. There's a sweet potato in between there. There's beets. Beside that, potatoes, more parsnips or something like that. Ooh, that one down there is completely brown, so that one can definitely be harvested. Those two. This upcoming week, I'll try to get out here and do that. I doubt if I'm going to do much in the garden today because it is Sunday, and it is, I'm going out to lunch, and then it's really a day where I do chores and kind of relax. So, here I got a couple of my different berry bushes going on. They're looking lush. I got my lemon balm, the chamomile, German chamomile. I've been harvesting that. That's why I didn't have many flowers left on it, but I've been harvesting the flowers and I'm drying them to use in a tea blend. More sweet potatoes, a couple more berry bushes. These two little berry bushes are looking kind of sad, the leaves. I don't know why, but they're still alive and thriving. A couple more berry bushes, some flowers thrown in, that purple sage, which is prolific. And more looks like lemon balm going on there. A little Cosmo, nasturtium is coming up, and that one's like an orange or reddish color. So coming up, more sweet potatoes, all of the salsify that I have never actually tried before. I got some strawberry bags thrown in here, carrots, sweet potatoes. What's that down there? Another strawberry bag with a bunch of mint in the middle. That's pretty large that I can harvest and dry. I didn't get around to harvesting a lot of the specialty mints that I bought, so I'm bummed because I just had so much to do, and they went from bushy and lush to dying off like quickly because it got extremely hot, and apparently they don't like extreme heat. So I'm hoping they come back next year. I mean, mint is supposed to be a perennial, so we'll see. But I had like pineapple mint, chocolate mint, and I only got to harvest, I had like spearmint, of course peppermint. I only got to harvest a little bit of it, and I wanted to kind of dry a lot of it to make tea and stuff like that. So, but I do have this regular, just plain old mint, peppermint, or whatever. So I'll harvest some of that. Another huge Cosmo. These things get so bushy and huge. They're very pretty though. And there's some berry plants thrown in there, and some, I believe, oregano thrown in there. These are cucumbers. The bees are all over this. And a couple of berry plants that are hidden by all the cucumbers going up the trellis. And the cucumbers that I planted are all small varieties. I'm not a huge cucumber fan. I mean, I like pickles, but I wasn't really planning to make any pickles. But I'm not a huge cucumber fan, so I only planted like these little ones that I could throw in a salad or just eat by themselves. So there's a muncher I know that I planted that's given me a few. There's one that's a yellow color, and I can't think of the name of the variety, but I've gotten a couple of those. Of course, I got my mixed sunflowers in the back, which I'll leave there for the birds. And, you know, the sunflowers are, what is that? Is that a seed? I don't know what that is on there. It's huge, whatever it is. I hope it's not a bug. I'm not going to mess with that. Okay, here's another citrus tree. More cosmos, tons of cosmos. In the middle, all of these cucumbers is a sage plant, a huge sage plant. I got my gigantic horseradish plant here that's in a bag, and what I'm going to do is try to break off a portion of that to have in the fall. That's a perennial, so I will just leave that. Otherwise, this is a fig tree in here, covered over by the horseradish and the mint, but that is actually a fig tree, and that has to go indoors. I have two fig trees. I don't know where the other one is. It's somewhere in a bag, but those both need to go indoors in the winter. More sweet potatoes. I got so many sweet potatoes. Good gosh. They store well though. Sweet potatoes will last for months, so I'm happy about that. I like them a lot. Potatoes that are dying back, so I'll be able to harvest those soon. And then it looks like more root vegetables over here, some kind of turnips or something like that. This zucchini plant has been prolific. Let's see. I'm hoping this video comes out okay because the sun is creating quite a bit of shade or shadows. This one has been prolific. It has a big one on there now and a little baby, and I've harvested several off of here. I've made a bunch of zucchini bread, tried to give it away, give it all away, and there's clearly more coming. I do like zucchini. I like it sauteed, grilled quite a bit. I like it in a soup, you know, like basically a cream of zucchini soup. So, and it goes well in other soups as well, you know, cubed up. So it's a good vegetable to have. I can eat that one several times a week. I may try to make some pickles out of that since they're so prolific. I may just, you know, you can make pickles apparently out of zucchini. I've never tried it, but I may do that. Looks like this is another cucumber plant, probably. No, actually that looks like a squash. I take that back. Those big leaves. Those leaves are too big for cucumbers. Another chamomile plant here. I've harvested a lot of those flowers. And then raspberry bushes are in here as well. All of my fruit bushes are pretty small. When I got them, they were extremely small. We're talking little, either bare roots or they were in little 4-inch pots. So they have a lot of growing to do, but they're doing well. This fennel here probably needs to, some of it needs to be harvested. It's getting crazy bushy. Look at that. But this is fennel, bulb fennel. I like to slice that up and use it. You can use it in a lot of things, kind of, you know, casseroles and roast it with root vegetables. So it's pretty tasty. I don't really use the tops much. You can use the tops to flavor canned things, like if you're making pickles or something, you could throw those in there and flavor it. But I'm pretty much just gonna slice the bulbs up and kind of cook it along with other vegetables or starches is my goal. My corn, again, I don't know why the ones in the front are so much shorter, because again, I don't know, maybe the ones in the front aren't getting as much sun. I would have thought the ones in the front would get more sun, because the further back you go, the closer you are to your fence. But it seems like, I don't know, maybe the ones in the back are getting more sun, but these ones in the front I know are growing slow. They do have little corn ears. They're just tiny. And then again, this could be a variety that grows slower, because I planted like 5 different varieties in this row. I just like planted 4 or 5 of each variety. My first time growing corn, so I don't know much about it, but it seems to me that it's doing what it's supposed to do. Most of the stalks, it seems, I don't go over there in that row because the bees, I tell you, they're swarming those tassels, so I stay away. But most of the stalks here seem to have at least 2 corn cobs on it, so I'm happy. And look at those sunflowers. I mean, good God, they're like 8 feet tall now, or 9 feet tall. Let's see if I can zoom in here so you can just see how beautiful they are. Look at them. They're they're massive. My privacy fence here is 6 feet, and they are taller than that, at least a foot. Most of them, maybe 2 feet for the tallest one. So they're so pretty. I like the sunflowers. Anyway, I digress. This here, going up this trellis, there's a trellis here that goes across 2 rows, but this is a cucumber plant, and it has, I believe it has started to set some baby fruit, and they are tiny cucumbers. Here's a couple down here. They are, I can't remember what they were called. I'm going to take one because they're not supposed to get very big. So I don't know if it's called a lemon cucumber or an apple cucumber, but they're tiny and round. Again, I said all the ones that I planted, varieties, are small. I did not want huge ones because I'm not a huge cucumber fan. My leafy greens are still going at it. They don't give up. I tell you, I really thought the summer would take them out, these brassicas and stuff, but nope. I mean, I'm pretty sure the heads aren't as big as they would be normally, but they are still going. I have a broccoli here. I'm going to take that now, because what I have found is when I come out here and do these tours and say I'm going to come harvest something, then I forget about it and start doing something else, and the next thing I know, it's going to seed, you know, or it's flowering. So I miss out. So I'm going to take those in and have those. There's another cucumber plant here, but it has not yet set fruit. It has tons of flowers. Waiting on that one. Beans all through here. I harvested a few off of here, but they're still flowering. I got I believe that's a marigold there. Hopefully that's a marigold. I'm waiting for this top blossom to open up to see exactly what it is. For all I know, it could be a weed. The weeds can disguise themselves. I'm telling you, a lot of them look just like it should be a flower or something. And then I use my little app to find out it's a weed, so then I pull it out. But you can see the corn in there. There's plenty. I planted like 3 seeds in each hole because I have so few, you know, so few of them that I was planting. I wanted to make sure I got something that came up. And in some of the holes, I literally have 3 corn stalks coming up, or 2. And so that's pretty cool. They're growing. They're doing well, even though they're crowded in. So you apparently can grow corn in a very small space. Next year, I think I'm going to use that spare field that I have that I hardly plant anything in. The little bed I showed you in the last tour. I'm going to probably use that for corn and do all corn and sunflowers over there. Just a big block, because it really didn't get used much this season, and that would just be pretty to have this big block of corn and sunflower stalks all in one spot. So I think I'm going to move those over there for next year. These are flowers, I believe, Moonglow flowers. I can't remember the actual species name, but I don't know if it was a hollyhock or what. But I planted several seeds. Only a couple of them came up, but the ones that did are pretty vigorous. They're wrapping themselves around this pea trellis that I had here. I got more sunflowers. Look at that. More of them that have yet to open up and bloom that are growing there. Because again, when I plant stuff, I usually plant 2 or 3 seeds in a hole. And this season, at least, like 95% of what I've planted has come up. This is the lion's ear, which I need to figure out when I'm supposed to harvest it. I know you're supposed to get these little orange flowers, so I don't know if I'm supposed to come out here and pick them off one by one or what. But this plant is supposed to have some kind of narcotic pain relieving effect in those little orange flowers, so I want to get on top of that. Here's the other okras that I planted, and they have some little fruit on them that are growing. And see, more brassicas, and there's some beans up there, more of the lion's ear. Over in that next row, my hands are full now, I can't even zoom. Over in that next row, I got some nasturtiums pink. They're like a salmon colored, which I have not seen before, so that's unique. They're starting to come up. More brassicas. I got all kinds of kales going on over here. Kales and mustards and collards. So lots of that. This one, I think, this is the ragged kale, I believe, the red Russian, I think. This I know is kale, and I can't remember the variety, but it is actually a kale. It looks a lot like the dinosaur kale, lacinato. It looks a lot like that, but it's more of a red in it. It's just a beautiful plant. I love the height, and it grows very compactly. And I have 2 of those. I've harvested off of these things multiple times. I'm telling you, they just keep growing. So that's what that is. There's some barrage thrown in over here too. Beans, those green beans, the red ones are over there. They're ready to be harvested. So I'm going to come back and do that. Flowers are thrown in. This is some kind of squash. Don't ask me what kind. It hasn't set any fruit yet. It has tons of flowers. Some more tomatoes thrown in. I think I had extras. Some more leafy greens. Those actually look like collards. Over here, I am very cautious about going in here. I won't today because I am on shorts. But this is a big mass of squash plants and melon plants, and they're spilling over everywhere because they get huge, and they are all flowered. The bees love this area. They're all over it. You can see where my second trellis collapsed. Oh my gosh. And it looks like this one is going next. The weight of these melons, or whatever they are too heavy for it. Just too much. You can take it. And I'm not getting in there doing anything with it because of the bees. I mean, you can't see it probably in this video, but they are all over swarming. There's bumblebees, there's big fuzzy bees, there's little fuzzy bees, there's probably wasp too. There's another one there of the melons. But most of this, the thing that's going up the trellises are the watermelon, and it's the same one plant. I mean, this plant I've never seen anything like this plant before, but it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And in the middle of this are shorter squash, so I got some acorn squash and things like that in there. I've been getting a lot of zucchini out of here too, off of some of these lower ones. They are prolific. I've used them, sauteed them, using them in zucchini bread. So there's a lot of squash just going on in this area, and a couple of tomato plants thrown in. And you can see these are little tomatoes, either camera cut off. I don't know where it cut off. Okay, so over here are my 2 rows of tomatoes, these last 2 rows, and it's a jungle in there. This is where the bunny hides out. And so I don't go in there because of the bees. One, in the back are all the squash and melons, and that's where the bees hang out. They're swarming all over that stuff all the time. So until all those flowers are done and they leave, I will not be taking myself up in there. But up in there is a lot of squash, a lot of melons, watermelons that I planted, and honeydew type melons, and all kinds of winter squash are in there. It's so heavy, it's weighed down. The arbors, the nice pretty arbors I put up, are collapsing. And like I said, I'm not going in there as long as all those bees are in there. I'll wait until the flowers die off. The nice thing is I did put the ground cover on these 2 rows, so even the stuff that's laying on the ground is not being attacked by bugs, because it's, you know, the dirt is covered, so it's not really getting attacked by anything other than a bunny or flying insects. So the tomatoes are prolific and doing well. If you can see that, they are huge. There are lots of them. There are all different varieties. They're all still green. And I even have some that don't turn red. I have some that, you know, multiple colors. I have some that stay green, purple, yellow, orange. I have all colors, so it'll be nice to see the colors that they come into. And here we have more of the red green beans that are ready to go, need to be picked. Oh, let me try to get over here. Let me try to walk over to the little tomato section so I can show you what the bunny did. Bunny did to my, oh, there's a bee. What the bunny did to my poor peppers. Okay, so you see all these cages I put to try to stop the bunny. The bunny got in the cages anyway because the holes are pretty small, pretty large. So it still got in and ate them. It really only messed with the ones in the back. I think it was afraid to come more to the front because I have 3 big dogs. Yeah, they can't get in here, but I think the bunny isn't stupid. He can see them. And so he just stays in the back where he can hide. But basically, he took the tops off of these pepper plants. These were all different kinds of peppers. I was so excited, man. And now they're gone and it's done because the season is halfway over, so it's too late. They grow slow. But I had all different kinds of bell peppers. Pepperoncinis were in here. Cubanelles. Ajavarski. Everything you could think of. So I was so disappointed. Habanadas, which are like habaneros but not hot. Jalapenos, which are like jalapenos but not hot. So I had all kinds of peppers here and they are all eaten. It raised it. So next year I will have to use some finer mesh metal to create my little cages out of. Probably like the ones I used around my berry bushes, where I just got fencing and cut it and bent it and made my own little cages. I'll do that. But plenty of tomatoes. Can't complain there. So they're huge too. These are huge. Just waiting for them to get ripe. But there's a lot of tomatoes, and all of this is little cherry and cocktail tomatoes. So there are tons of those down there. Some things did get salvaged. A few of my peppers. Oh, my poor poblanos are gone. What is this? Albino bullnose pepper. Peppers here, which are like I believe that's a white bell pepper. There are a couple Cubanelles there that didn't get demolished. Here's a couple. See if I can see the side. This one's bushy. Might get something out of this one. Not a Pinots. That one has some little fruit setting. So I think once they get a certain size, the bunny seems to leave them alone. Once they get, 2 feet or more. But when they're tiny, forget about it. So there's a couple up here that were salvaged. Lilac pepper, which is like a purple bell pepper. There's a couple little ones. Big Jim Anaheim peppers, those couple. These are eggplants, these here. It got my eggplant that was over on that side. Japanese jade eggplant. And that one. This one is a Thai long green eggplant. And then back here is Cubanelle peppers. And back there is some jalapenos. It's like orange jalapenos, and that one that survived. So that's all I got. And I had, like I said, I must have had at least 10, 12 varieties of peppers that were planted. And it's a little disappointing. There are some that I really like. I really like poblanos, using those to stuff them. I really like Anaheim peppers. I love jalapenos. And of course I love, all bell peppers, but it doesn't appear like I'm going to get many. But so that's what's going on over here. And those are, I just need to come out and do some weeding and some weed whacking along the perimeters, because the grass is getting tall along the perimeters, and harvest a few things, but otherwise everything's looking good. Using the straw and the mulch on my rows really helped, probably with water retention, but also it really helped with the weeds. Not as many weeds as I would get normally, and when they came up, they're quite easy to pull up because they're new and they're not really that strongly anchored. So that's what's happening in the garden. Those are the tasks that I'm going to be working on over the next week. I think that's all I got to do. My fruit trees are good to go. I'm not doing anything else to those until probably I'll wait until next spring to prune them up and get them looking pretty. But they're growing well. I spray them once a month, because the bugs, the beetles and all of those insects like to try to chew up the leaves. So, but yeah, everything's looking good. And then there's going to be a lot of work in harvesting all these things in the bags. I'm just going to get like a big tarp or my wheelbarrow and dump each bag in there and fish out what's there. Hopefully I get some good stuff. I'll make a video of that one, because that's like a dang on treasure hunt. That should be fun. And then salvage the dirt and repurpose it, amend it and use it in the bags for next year, put it back in the bags. So that's my goal there. I'm waiting on some little parts for my drip irrigation system that were back ordered, and I've been waiting like all summer for these little end caps, because the end caps keep blowing off. The ones that they gave me with the kits, I think they were a cheap version that you just stuck in the end, but the pressure of the water, no matter how light I turned on the hose, was often blow them out, and so some have gotten lost. Well, they have a new one now, I guess, that screws on to the end, which makes a lot more sense. So I ordered a bunch of those, but they were back ordered and they're supposed to be in the mail. So the season's almost over. So I'll connect those. I didn't have to use the drip irrigation much because it was so rainy here this season. Yeah, zone 6. I'm in zone 6A. I believe 6A. Kalamazoo, Michigan. And it's rained so much here, uncharacteristically, that I haven't had to do much supplemental watering. And I'm happy about that, because I have city water, so it costs money. I do have rain barrels, but I've only hooked up 2 out of the 4. And they collect some, but they don't collect a lot of water. And then, who knows, I may have had there's the rain barrels over there. I may have had some leaks in my connections. I really haven't spent a lot of time checking on it. I have only used water out of them once. I plan to because they're not full. They're like a third of the way full. So I'll just save that for the end of the season and use it. But that's all that's going on out in the garden. Hopefully this video isn't too long, and to just kind of give you a snapshot of where I am. I have that 2x8 raised bed, and over there's a bunch of flowers in there right now. Sunflowers and some other little flowers that I planted. A bunch of celery, which needs to be harvested. But celery, I mean, the only thing I use that for is cooking, so I kind of harvest it as I need it. So a lot of that may probably go to waste. I got kohlrabi in there that I'm going to harvest. They're a good size now. I'm going to harvest those at some point over the next 2 weeks. I do like kohlrabi. It's another root vegetable. You can roast it. That's what I do with it. I just kind of roast it like I roast other root vegetables, tossed in oil, salt, and pepper. You could also use it in soup or something like that. Cube it up, use it in place of potatoes if you're trying to do a low carb thing. And yeah, that's all we got going on this year. So I've learned a lot this season. There are a lot of things that I want to rethink in terms of the number of plants I plant of each thing. My trellising systems, obviously, I have to work on those. Also, getting more on top of harvesting those medicinal things and things that don't do well in the heat, like the mint and stuff. Harvesting those in the right time before they die, when I'm supposed to, and getting more on task with that. And also, I want to do more of planting seedlings. I mean, well-established seedlings. I planted seedlings, but a lot of them were small. A lot of them I planted too early, and they died off from the cold spells. But I want to get my seedlings pretty well established because I am finding that I like a well-placed garden. I like my plants to be well placed in the row, in the spot where I put them. I find that when I plant seeds, they tend to move all over the place. I mean, the wind blows them, birds move them, the water, when you water, moves them. So yeah, I'm going to work on getting my seedlings to a hardy size where I can place them exactly where I want them in my rows. I just am finding that I like my rows to look a little bit more planned and manicured, and I want a certain number of each plant because I do have a limited space. So I want to make sure I'm able to, set it up in a way where it's really giving me all the food I need, but in the amounts I need it, so I'm not wasting anything and that sort of thing. So that'll be my plan for next year. Also focusing on the garlic, trying to get that to grow because that was an epic fail for me. The garlic was a fail, ginger and turmeric, all of those rotted for me. So I think the key would be overwintering them inside because those are things for the most part that I planted in fall, I believe. So putting them someplace a little bit more protected to overwinter, like in my shed, which should be coming in a month. That's going to be my goal for next year for dealing with those. So otherwise, I am really quite pleased and impressed with what I have accomplished in my first year of gardening. It really is beautiful. You'd have to come out here and see it. I don't know that this video does it justice, but for a person who lives in a subdivision, a neighborhood and not on a farm or in the country or with acreage, this is quite an impressive feat, I think. All right, take care, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I shall see you next week. Bye-bye.